Stick with me. You and I are diving into the hilarious world of Please Don't Come to the Villainous Stationery Store. Drop a like and subscribe if you enjoy these stories. It really helps the channel. Let's get started. Meldonique's father is absolutely livid today, and he is officially kicking her out of the family. Apparently, the girl who lived in this body before her failed every business venture and lost 10 billion gold. Her stepmother Hildegard definitely set her up, but the Duke does not care. Honestly, our girl is just happy to take the massive pile of cash and run. Her father expects her to beg for mercy. But she is done playing games. She has been waiting for this eviction day forever, so she happily bids her toxic father a final farewell. She packs her bags and plans to vanish instantly before they change their minds about the money. Rosaline, her loyal maid and the only friend she has in this massive estate, is shocked to see her leaving. Mel mentions following her dreams, but Rosaline assumes that means she is finally going to propose to Duke Hesmond of the North. Well, that was the old Meldonique's dream. The new her wants absolutely nothing to do with him. She has been stuck in this fantasy novel for months, where Duke Hesmond and her sister Shiria are the leads. In the original story, however, now pay attention, because this is where the plot gets dark. Meldonique was the villainess meant to die from jealousy, but she decided to stop trying to go home. She decides to live for herself and open a stationery shop, a dream she has held onto for a long time. Naturally, Rosaline has no clue what a stationery shop even is, and worries her lady is going to fail again. The maid tries to scare her about how harsh life will be once she leaves the palace. Losing the fancy dresses and gourmet food, Mel couldn't care less about any of that noble lifestyle anymore. Tearfully, Rosaline warns her that her wicked stepmother will likely target her once she is outside the family's protection. She appreciates the concern, but her mind is made up. She promises to send for Rosaline once her new business becomes a massive success. Vicious servants whisper about her cursed bloodline as she walks down the stairs, wondering where this failed noble is going. See, her mother was the final direct descendant of the ancient dragon known as the Marquis Canoa. And just like her late mother, most people carrying that cursed blood die tragically at a very young age. Regardless, she is used to the gossip and climbs into her carriage, intending to take a trip into the city's slums. But before the carriage pulls away, she gives them a final goodbye that only she truly understands. A bright smile and a middle finger, and just like that, our villainess is officially off on her own. Let's pause here. Meldonique knows her stepmother won't let her live in peace. To survive, she is going to need some serious muscle to protect her. So before the shop opens, she has a plan to recruit the most powerful knight in history as her bodyguard. The carriage stops, not at a market or a tavern, but right in the middle of a creepy cemetery. 1,000 years ago, a hero sacrificed himself to seal away a demonic invasion, locking his soul inside a legendary magical sword for all eternity. Legends of this great hero are famous across the kingdom, and according to the original novel, Duke Hesmond was supposed to find this sword, gaining fame so great that people wanted to crown him the new emperor. But this time, Meldonique finds the sword and pulls it herself. A gorgeous young man with dark hair and piercing blue eyes appears before her, just like a magical genie. This is Dominic, the 17-year-old hero who saved the entire empire. She hands him the blade and immediately demands a contract. He isn't shocked, but he definitely needs to know her desire before he agrees to serve her. What actually confuses him is that she only wants him to protect her from danger. He literally offers to help her conquer the entire kingdom, but she insists that her only goal is to open a small stationery shop. Dominic finds it hilarious and thinks, stationery is the name of her new empire, so she has to explain it is actually for children. If he fulfills her wish, he gets to become human again, so protecting a candy shop should be a walk in the park. Dominic considers the offer for a moment before they shake hands to seal their magical blood contract. They teleport directly in front of the prestigious academy, and Dominic is ready to storm the main building. But he is stunned when Mel points toward a tiny, run-down building where they will start their new life together. Her father stole everything, but you and I are about to watch her take it back. See you in the next part. Stick with me, because our lady's only inheritance is this crumbling shack of a house. Dominic is absolutely convinced he has been scammed into living in this dump. This, my friends, is why you always read the fine print before signing anything. Oh well. The interior is a total disaster, but she is already dreaming of where the toys will go and picturing the house filled with laughter and many happy kids. Dominic sees her sincerity and finally stops his complaining to help her clean the house. Melina was actually an orphan in the real world, raised by people who taught her how to be strong. She is especially grateful to the sweet shop owner who was always kind and gave her candies. Now she wants to be just like her and make every visiting child happy too. Such an innocent dream. I cannot wait for the opening. The next day, she heads to the Albion Royal Court with Dominic in his sword form to get her license. Everything is great until a man she has only met once ruins her mood. Watch this part closely. Duke Alastair knows she left, and he demands his future wife return within a month. As far as she knows, Alastair was warm at first, but his attitude changed once he charmed her. He belittles her talents and has already started a secret affair with Lady Seraphina. They kept it secret, but when Melina finally confronts him about all the rumors, he gaslights her like it is all her fault and even has the nerve to say they will still be the ones getting married. Melina does not understand why Alastair keeps bothering her when she knows he will just get closer to her sister Seraphina while in the Sanctum Kingdom. She looks him in the eye and says she is aware of his secret affair. He still tries to manipulate her, believing she is the same girl who loved him. But sorry, not sorry. Our girl is different now and is officially breaking up with him. She even gives him advice and tells him to marry Seraphina instead to solve the political marriage problem between their families. The Duke, however, he does not seem to have any intention of marrying her sister despite her being gorgeous. For some reason, he only desires to marry her. She then tells him he could just marry Lady Gwendolen, which confuses the Duke as he cannot tell what she is thinking right now. She draws her sword and strikes the ground to show her absolute resolve. She clearly states that she is now formally requesting a full annulment of their engagement right then and there. She informs him that she will send a farewell letter soon before leaving the Duke, who is still processing everything she said. Since she does not usually act this way, he thinks she is just trying to get his attention out of jealousy. He is so arrogant he thinks a girl obsessed with him cannot change overnight. Melina walks back and Alastair expects an apology, which just makes her chuckle. You and I can both agree the biggest problem in this novel is this trashy lead. She comes back to correct him because he probably thinks she is acting this way to garner his attention, which is not true. He suddenly grabs her and suspects she is cheating. Seriously, the audacity of this man. She points at a passing stranger who is 100 times better than marrying him, hoping he realizes how much she despises him. She does not want to hear him label her a cheater, so she tells him outright that he is the one who is trash. Melina resumes her walk after feeling proud of herself for roasting the Duke, entering the agency and receiving her license shortly after. Even the attendant looks like she expects Melina to fail again this time. She is known for lacking talent, but she does not care and leaves the place gleefully. A man picks up a document she dropped while she was organizing her things. The gentleman questions her marriage to the Duke, which just makes her very angry thinking about it. He finds her amusing, and that is when she realizes he is the man she pointed out earlier, but he is already gone. She then comes to her newly clean and neat home thanks to Dominic, and they discuss how they will use the money. 100 million to pay a witch to fix the house, and the other 100 million to buy shop delights. And trust me, you and I are both ready to see that final annulment letter sent. All right, you and I are about to watch a noble lady risk everything to escape her toxic family and a clingy Duke. Dominic just can't wrap his head around why a high-born lady would ever throw away her title. To get the freedom she craves, she has to sever every tie and abandon her very name. By becoming a simple commoner, her marriage to the Duke is legally void, and she's betting everything on Dominic to help rebuild her reputation from scratch. This flatters his ego, and he proudly claims he's truly reliable. The letters to her family and the Duke are finally drafted, meaning her ties to them will be officially severed the moment they're sent. As Melanie absorbs the memories of her past self, she starts to realize just how much the original girl suffered. Her childhood was a total nightmare. Other nobles mocked her cursed blood, her stepmother was cruel, and her father didn't give her a second thought. It's a twisted blessing, but her father is so obsessed with his own reputation that he forbids anyone from openly insulting his daughter. Because of that, people treat her like royalty, but their eyes are full of silent hate. Growing up in isolation forced her to become arrogant and snobbish just as a survival mechanism. Now watch, Melanie knows she doesn't have the strength for a bloody revenge, so she's choosing to just cut them out of her life forever. The next day, Dominic catches spies on their tail, likely sent by Lady Hildegard and the Duke to keep a close eye on her. She isn't even worried, though, since she has Dominic by her side. While out for a stroll, they stumble upon a young boy who looks like he's in serious pain. She tries to rush him to a healer, but the kid is incredibly stubborn, so Dominic just hoists him up to handle the medical treatment himself. Back at their place, the little guy thinks her home looks totally run down and kind of creepy. Dominic uses a bit of magic to heal his knee, while the boy tries his best to act tough. Melanie recognizes the antique music box he's holding, which makes him blush since he's expecting her to laugh at it. But you saw that coming, right? Melanie actually loves it, and finally, he's met a kindred spirit who appreciates vintage treasures. He admits he bought the box as a birthday gift for his older brother. He's worried he won't like it, but Melanie promises his brother will be thrilled, and the two start to bond. Once Dominic patches his wounds, the boy suddenly starts to get really sleepy. Melanie decides to let him nap upstairs for an hour while they wait for a carriage to arrive. The kid mumbles in his sleep, asking if this haunted house is safe. Melanie can't believe he has the nerve to call her beautiful shop abandoned. Hey, kids tell the truth, Melanie. As Dominic carries him to bed, she decides it's time for a massive remodel to make the shop actually look inviting to children. So they start by cleaning up their messy garden. As they work, Dominic casually mentions he used magic to brainwash the spies who were tailing them earlier. It wasn't in their contract, but it's a little gift that Melanie truly appreciates. Suddenly, she finds his sword in the grass glowing with a dark energy, and he rushes over to protect her. An ice magic attack hits them out of nowhere, but Melanie is more fascinated by the fact that the ice stones aren't melting. The magic lunges at Melanie with lethal intent, until Dominic gets serious and forces the energy into a solid human shape. Turns out, he's a demon sealed within the blade, calling himself the Moonlight Winter Devil. Dominic figures he slipped out by mistake, having lost control of his power after 100 years of being sealed away. But no need to panic, because he can just seal him right back. Melanie is genuinely impressed by his ice magic since, in a world without refrigerators, ice is worth its weight in gold. Naturally, Melanie gets a brilliant business idea. It's time to start making slushies. Dominic warns the demon about Melanie's wit, admitting that even he was tricked into signing a contract with her. Melanie just sighs, then learns the demon only has 30 minutes of freedom because Dominic can only seal things, not release them permanently. Keeping him out would simply require way too much magical mana. Well, goodbye to her dreams of infinite ice. She finds out there are 4 powerful demons inside that sword, and Winter is actually the weakest. The poor guy thinks she's going to execute him on the spot. Trust me, Melanie never wastes time. She orders a massive stash of eternal ice before he's gone. The weary spirit is completely drained and just wants to retreat back into the blade. Stick with me, because even this demon thinks she is a complete monster. On her command, the creature crafts enchanted ice that only thaws once swallowed, making the perfect frosted treats. She offers him a taste as a prize, and though he resists at first, he soon calls it a culinary revolution before vanishing. 30 minutes are up. Hopefully, we will get to see our magical frozen treat maker again very soon. She wakes the young boy and hands him a frosted drink, though he seems a bit skeptical at first. One sip in, and his heart is racing, leaving the boy convinced he is in love with Lady Madeline. As she leads him to his carriage, he vows to spread word of her shop until the grand opening. She sends him off with a bottle of the frozen nectar to share with his sister back home. Madeline's letter demanding an end to their betrothal has finally landed on the Duke's desk. Now pay attention, because the Duke suddenly recalls that his father only wanted this union to secure Madeline's rare and powerful dragon blood. As the true heir of the Crestwood line, she holds massive power that her children will surely inherit one day, making them the most formidable in the entire realm. Before passing, his father ordered him to marry Madeline and keep her under his absolute control. He scoffs at the letter until he notices her threat to reveal his scandalous affairs to the public, leaving him absolutely furious. Suddenly, his sister Matilda, who was born from scandal and hates betrayal, demands to know if he has truly been unfaithful to Madeline. He lies to her face, but the young girl sees right through him and leaves the room feeling utterly ashamed of her brother's actions. Meanwhile, her father finally reads her final letter, which states that she is officially cutting all ties with the Blackwood family name forever. The Duke is furious, not because he misses his daughter, but because of the damage to his noble reputation. Her stepmother thinks she will come crawling back soon, but you and I know that is never happening. Lady Genevieve suggests the Duke should grant her request just to give the girl a proper fright. Since there is almost no record of a noble truly leaving their family, she assumes Madeline will surely buckle before the month-long grace period ends. Secretly, she wants Madeline gone for good so her own daughter, Serena, can take her place as the heir. Duke Blackwood agrees to the plan. They decide to forward her paperwork to the Crown and send Madeline a letter granting her total freedom. Madeline is thrilled to get the letter, but Alastair wonders why her former fiancé hasn't officially called off the wedding. Well, the Duke likely hopes to keep her under his thumb, but it is irrelevant once she becomes a commoner, and their contract is legally declared null and void. Ancient laws forbid nobles from marrying commoners, and she truly cannot wait for that sweet moment of liberty. They are so busy talking they barely notice that the shop renovations are finally, at long last, complete. With the shop finally ready, they sit outside while she dreams of hiring master chefs to fill her kitchen. She wants to sell mountains of chocolate and find a court alchemist to craft even more magical sweets. Alastair warns her that finding a true alchemist is nearly impossible. But Madeline is so driven that if she could buy a legendary 1,000-year-old blade, finding a mage should be no trouble at all. He laughs but agrees, though she also plans to put the spirits inside his blade to work too. To prepare for the grand opening, the pair starts making batches of golden honeycomb treats for the morning. Her funds are low, but she is certain this little shop will soon be overflowing with joyful new memories. She is honestly too precious. Inside the great mage's tower, an apprentice reports to Lord Cedric that several priceless magic artifacts have been mysteriously stolen from their vaults. There are 3 main suspects in the heist, but the apprentice finds Lady Madeline to be the most suspicious one of them all by far. His investigation reveals that her little shop is using some very unusual and powerful forms of magic. As you probably guessed, Lord Cedric is the mysterious man Madeline noticed in the capital, and trust me, he is now coming to investigate her very special powers personally. Stick with me, you're about to see how the boy Mel helped is actually Axion, who's already picked his future wife. The Crown Prince asks her age and realizes she's much older, a mere commoner, and apparently tried to sell his brother stuff. Prince Cassian smells a rat, suspecting Mel is a fraud or a spy, and now he's terrified for his brother's life. Axion hands over a birthday gift, that magical grape juice made from enchanted ice that Mel gave him earlier. This only fuels his suspicion, because how on earth does a common girl get her hands on rare, unmeltable ice? He loves the slushy drink and plans to visit Mel, but the greedy Duke Hessman interrupts with a business deal. Axion bolts immediately because he can't stand the Duke. This makes Cashin even more curious about Mel, since his brother is notoriously picky about who he calls a friend. Duke Hessman is pushing a new project for children and hands the prince a fancy perfume sample and a fountain pen. It is a jeweled work of art that stands out from any other pen, but the prince believes it is far too extravagant for children. Hessman wants an investment. He explains the real targets are the wealthy parents, and collaborating with ladies Hildegard and Shiria makes the project foolproof. Hessman is a ruthless shark, known for crushing small businesses under his heel without a second thought. But before signing, the prince asks the big question: is the Duke really having an affair with Shiria? He warns the Duke to avoid the lady, since he is engaged to Lady Meldenek, which clearly annoys the Duke, who calls it a private family issue. Because of his foul attitude, the prince rejects the deal, while the Duke walks away thinking the royals just missed out on a massive fortune. Back at the stationery shop, things are quiet today. Now watch this. The duo decides to invent something new, and Mel thinks beer candies would be a genius addition. Since kids always watch their parents drinking, it makes sense to let them enjoy a non-alcoholic candy version. Dominic thinks magic can do the trick, but he needs to learn the actual brewing process from a pro. Mel heads out to meet her neighbors and introduces herself, trying to drum up business for her new shop. She meets a girl named Lily who works at Les's Tavern, the local watering hole, and exactly the place Mel was looking for. She is truly thrilled to meet the owner. The next day, Mel pitches her candy idea to Lessa. Lessa loves it, but gives her some bad news. She's forced to shut the tavern down for good. Lily explains that a dangerous gang called the Red Priest Pirates will destroy any business that cannot pay their massive fees, and rumors say a powerful individual is now secretly sponsoring them. While they're still talking, suddenly someone starts pounding on the door and screaming for them to open up. Lessa and Lily panic, telling Meldenek to hide so she doesn't get dragged into this mess. When a gang member slaps Lily, Meldenek loses her cool and rushes out to save them. The thugs just laugh, wondering what a tiny girl like her could possibly do to them. But Mel's getting the last laugh, because Dominic just shared a massive chunk of his power with her. I know what you're thinking, and yeah, she can see their every move now. Bring it on, idiots. She asks if they're carrying any cash, and with a smug grin, they brag about having plenty. That is absolute music to Mel's ears, as she starts dealing with them one by one, happily confiscating every bit of cash they have. She is so focused on her work that she does not notice the crowd surrounding her after Lily called the neighbors for help. The neighbors are in awe of how she handled those thugs, hailing her as a true warrior of justice. When a man starts asking questions, she spots his reporter's badge and immediately starts pitching her shop to him. She's counting on him for a glowing review before noticing Lessa and asking her if she still wants to try their project together. Lessa agrees instantly, promising to do whatever it takes to help Mel succeed. The whole town is still buzzing about how Meldenek just saved their neighborhood. Meanwhile, the reporter realizes he's found his true calling and decides to write an epic story about her. Dominic and Meldenek start working on the beer candies. But Dominic has zero control over his magic, and trust me, you and I are in for a long wait. All right, you and I are about to see a noble lady start an empire with nothing but candy. He is stunned when she admits she lacks magic due to a family curse, leaving her born without a single drop of mana. This same tragedy is why she was rejected from the prestigious Imperial Academy. Dominic disagrees, arguing she could not have absorbed his energy earlier otherwise, so he offers a test to prove her true potential. As the test begins, Meldina identifies the light on his palm as pure white, confirming her mana is actually of the rarest purity. He explains she might not be a traditional wizard because her power stems from human life itself, making her better suited to alchemy. An alchemist can forge incredible things out of thin air. They can even summon the winter moon guardian, though she will need every ounce of her pure mana to succeed. Now watch this part carefully. There is one man who could change everything, but he has vanished. Luckily, our optimistic heroine is determined to sharpen her skills with Dominic by her side, ready to guide her every step. Putting her spirit to the test, they begin crafting their enchanted beer candies, finishing the batch with total success. But the process drains her magical reserves to the absolute limit. Dominic tries a candy while resting, but his voice suddenly sounds bizarre, reminding him he had placed a random enchantment on them earlier. He finds the temporary vocal change hilarious and knows the local children are going to absolutely love the trick. They share a look before realizing they have a brilliant new product, beer candies that grant the eater a temporary magical voice. Or dashing. The mysterious Alistair now prepares to meet Meldina with young Arthur's help, hoping her famous kindness toward children will make their first interaction easier. Little Arthur, a 5-year-old prodigy, treats this investigation into Meldina as his very first secret mission. Arthur greets her with an adorable bow, and Meldina kneels so they can speak eye to eye, which is exactly what he wanted. It is all part of his plan to touch her arm and secretly measure her hidden magical power. She asks his name and interests before pulling a special pencil case from her bag, decorated with an ancient, noble inscription. "The truth shall set you free," a phrase the young genius adores. Meldina is such a natural with kids that Arthur starts wondering if she is actually a saint. He asks how she knows his heart, and she teases him about her secret ability to read any child's mind. "I know what you are thinking. A misunderstanding already. Well, stick with me because this simple mistake leads to absolute total chaos." He introduces himself as the guardian, and she gifts him the case for Arthur, along with samples of her magical candy. When their hands touch, she feels a strange spark, but quickly brushes it off. Alistair senses it too. A peculiar mana flow he suspects is linked to the legendary house Sterling bloodline. She cheerfully promotes her little shop before bidding the pair a fond farewell. Alistair continues the father and son ruse, but is left totally speechless when young Arthur asks who his mother is supposed to be. Men who are good with children are truly quite attractive. She returns after a successful deal at the tavern, but Dominic has even better news. Her exploits are in the newspaper. She reads how she single-handedly defeated 17 raiders of the Crimson Blade, with witnesses hailing her as the kingdom's new hero. Not only that, the reporter even advertised her shop, mentioning her magical voice changing candies and her legendary slush that never melts, not even in the summer heat. They are both beaming with pride until she realizes the Duke and her father will definitely see the headlines. No need to panic, as Dominic has already handled the situation using his own methods. Having charmed her stalkers, he fed them false lies about her wasting money on utter nonsense, ensuring both noble houses ignore the news in favor of their spies. Soon the paper reaches the students, who are dying to visit this mysterious new curiosities shop. However, they hesitate to enter a commoner establishment, doubting that such marvelous items could ever be crafted by someone of low birth. Axion sees the news and reads the story about Meldina crushing the raiders who once bullied him, convinced she performed this heroic act just for his sake. He envisions her as a noble knight until a new student asks to join him on a visit. This is Cedric, a young mage sent by the council to investigate rumors of children disappearing near the academy. So what do you and I think? Is Meldina in danger? We find out soon. You and I are about to see Axion actually listen to Mel and bring a friend along. Cashin receives an urgent letter from his younger brother, claiming he is visiting the woman of his dreams, Mel, and wants the prince to join him at the shop immediately. Cashin cannot delay any longer. He needs to investigate this suspicious commoner before something terrible happens to his brother. The emperor actually sired 8 children, but sadly, most perished from mysterious illnesses, leaving only these 2. That is exactly why he is so fiercely protective of young Axion. Axion reaches the boutique and introduces himself to Mel, alongside his skeptical friend, 𝒄𝒍𝒂𝒕. Mel is absolutely thrilled and gives them a warm welcome to her shop. 𝒄𝒍𝒂𝒕 begins his investigation, sensing immense power from Dominic. He even suspects Axion is under a love spell since he is acting so strange. Axion discovers some soap bubbles for sale, and Mel explains that they are part of her latest experiments, which 𝒄𝒍𝒂𝒕 assumes is some evil plot. Stick with me, though, because you are going to love her. He prepares his magic just in case. They head outside, while the young mage prepares a counterattack until Mel blows the bubbles. The prince pops the bubbles, which transform into beautiful flowers, and the fun finally begins. Knowing 𝒄𝒍𝒂𝒕 is wary, she invites him to try the bubble blower himself to prove that it is perfectly safe. He tries it out and immediately feels like he is in a dream. He finally drops his guard and plays like a happy child again. This is so wholesome. He does not even realize he finished the entire bottle until Mel asks if he enjoyed it. He tries to act tough, but his face says he wants more. It is okay to have fun, 𝒄𝒍𝒂𝒕. She offers him some sweet iced treats, but he is determined not to consume anything from her, or he might end up just like Axion. Naturally, he fails and loves it. How cute. Axion now believes Mel should marry his older brother instead of him. Talk about perfect timing. His brother, Prince Cassian, just arrived. It turns out they are already acquainted, and that is when she realizes Axion is actually the youngest prince. Let's pause here. Axion innocently mentions Mel saved him, making her look incredibly suspicious, like she is just using the young prince. Cassian questions her true intentions for opening this shop and helping his younger brother. In the original story, Prince Cassian took the throne with help from his childhood friend and her rival, Duke Hesman. He is supposed to be the wisest of all the lords in Fall for Syria, so Mel really wants to avoid him. Whether or not he believes her, she honestly tells him her dream is just to run a small business where she can make local children happy. However, the prince warns her that running a normal shop will be difficult since others view her as an enemy. She then asks if she should consider him an enemy too, which the prince denies, finally allowing her to smile with total relief. Before they head out, she gives them a full pack of specialty candies to share with their friends. And since the crown prince himself visited the shop, she has a special gift prepared for him. In the novel, Cassian suffered from terrible nightmares after his nanny, and his many siblings passed away. No one knows the true cause of their deaths, and she figures it is just part of the author's tragic backstory. He was meant to be comforted by Syria, sparking his massive crush on her. But now, she wants to build a positive connection herself by giving him a gift first, a dream catcher for better sleep. It is enchanted, and though she lies about hiring a mage, the prince immediately recognizes it as her and Dominic's own handiwork. He accepts the gift gratefully, unable to believe this is the same girl rumored to be completely talentless. Our sweet little Axion did not forget to share those candies with his classmates, and they absolutely love them. Across the way, Marissa overheard the conversation and is convinced this is the Meldenic she knows, but she fears Mel hates her for being the Duke's sister. Axion's free advertising brought a crowd of students to the store. Excellent, but these kids are already bored of the old candies. Luckily, Mel and Dominic have prepared something new that they are going to enjoy. It is candy that turns your tongue different colors. She is so happy that she hugs Dominic, but he quickly pulls away, explaining he has taken a vow of celibacy. Trust me, she is totally baffled, but she assures him it was just a friendly hug. He can keep his pure life forever. All right, you and I are diving back into the shop life, just as a mysterious, hooded student enters. The girl offers an apple as a silent apology, and in return, Melina gives her a sweet treat. She pulls back her hood, introducing herself to the shopkeeper as young Lady Marissa. This poor child felt She had to personally apologize for her brother's terrible behavior. Unlike her arrogant older brother, it's clear she was raised with actual grace. Marisa had been watching her from afar and noticed Melina's kindness before quickly rushing away. Meanwhile, her brother, Lord Hastings, is currently hosting a grand banquet where nobles celebrate his massive magical crystal tree, while learning that the ambitious lord is desperate to establish contact with several other powerful kingdoms. The lord is desperate to form an alliance with the distant Sorcerer Kingdom, which is home to various powerful races known for being incredibly wary of all outsiders. Plus, he is determined to get his hands on the legendary Great Hero's sword. Too bad for him, because that legendary hero is currently quite happy working at Melina's shop. He believes these treasures will make him the perfect candidate to seize the imperial throne. Hastings soon learns that Earl Beaumont has already moved to have Melina officially expelled. Though he claims he'll stop it eventually, calling it a simple lesson for his daughter. The Lord thinks he could easily manipulate the Emperor himself if it ever came to a trial. Soon after, Melina's father hears of her small business and wants to see it for himself. Lady Beatrice throws a tea party, the perfect place to weaponize rumors against the girl. She tells the noble ladies there launching a children's boutique alongside the powerful Lord Hastings. She acts concerned for Melina, pretending they only want to help by involving Sophia's support. Now pay attention, because Prince Alaric arrives with flyers that are already circulating through the city. Melina thanks him and rushes to a construction site for a rival store, right near her own. There she meets Lord Hastings, who mocks her tiny shop and tells her to go home. He certainly refused to listen to her warnings, so now she intends to spread the absolute truth about him cheating with her own sister. But like every other cheater, he looks her in the eye and denies everything. He offers a priceless jewel to buy her silence, which only makes her despise him even more. He grows even more arrogant, claiming that no one in the kingdom would ever believe her. Just as things get heated, young Marisa suddenly rushes in to defend her friend Melina. The girl hates her brother, and being an illegitimate child herself, she knows exactly who he is. Melina refuses to use a child as a pawn, and Hastings finally backs off his aggressive stance. Marisa calls her brother a filthy man and storms off with Melina, leaving him behind. When they finally make it back to the stationery store, the whole crew is already there, busy chugging down cold fruit slushies. Marisa tries to comfort Melina by promising to find her a worthy husband, confusing the boys. Can you believe this kid? She angrily exposes how her brother is having an affair and trying to ruin Melina's shop, making the kids furious. Even Dominic is ready to end him, while Prince Alaric is the only one staying quiet. But young Marisa realizes that the prince is also firmly on Melina's side in this fight. Melina watches the adorable Marisa announce her new mission to find the perfect husband for her. It looks like she has her own little protection squad now, which is honestly so cute. The little matchmakers hold a secret meeting, though young Julian still hasn't found a candidate. Back in his private room. Inside, he receives a letter from Lord Isaac, and suddenly realizes that his master fits every single qualification the squad is looking for in a potential husband candidate. He can already imagine how wonderful life would be if those two adults ended up together. He quickly writes back, eager to introduce his legendary master to his dear friend Melina. Lord Isaac reads the letter and smiles, causing his friend Roger to start teasing him. Roger is suspicious of Melina, since little Henry has been acting strange and wants her back. Looks like even the coolest lords are falling for her charm. Trust me, this is just the beginning. Stick with me, because Lord Alastair is now certain that Melanie is not the thief. He sensed both demonic and dragon energy in her, matching the magic of their stolen vessel. He orders Sir Roland to properly hatch the dragon egg, using its newborn magic to hunt down the thieves. Intrigued by Melanie, he agrees to meet with Caleb to investigate her further. Local merchants gather outside Melanie's shop, terrified that a massive new rival store is being built nearby. They bring a pile of petitions that could delay the new opening for 15 days. They don't know she is the Duke's daughter, so signing their names makes them easy targets for him. They did it all for her. She is so touched by their help that she bows deeply, expressing her sincere gratitude for their kindness. She knows the laws favor nobles, so the petition likely will not work at all. Now pay attention, because she swears to never waste their genuine support. The squad explains how to win by revealing that Beatrice's brother is sponsoring the upcoming Young Nobles Gala, the biggest annual event. Children at the academy show off precious items and food to prove their family's high status. The squad wants Melanie to bring amazing goods to promote her shop during the festival. Caleb cannot attend because commoners are not invited, which makes him feel quite sad and alone. Melanie promises to make him something special before hugging the kids and noting down everything they truly love to start her plan. She plans a cloud-themed item which Dominic does not understand, but we all know it is brilliant. On a serious note, Dominic captures a spy and learns that Lady Helena and Viscount Thorn are plotting something for the event. Thorn is a mad wizard serving the Duchess, and Melanie refuses to let them harm the children. Not on our watch, right? Word is that Thorn has created a vision stone to boost learning, but it also triggers horrific nightmares for any child who uses it. Melanie starts planning a counterattack, using a demon she can only summon for a total of 3 seconds. The gala begins, and noble mothers are amazed by the incredible wealth Duke Sterling used to sponsor it. They gossip about the Duke's sister, but little Beatrice can hear every single word they say. Arthur and Beatrice wait patiently for Melanie to finally make her appearance. Beatrice has a flower ready, but as their turn arrives and Melanie is still missing, they start to panic until the doors swing open and she arrives. The room grows noisy as the nobles begin to whisper. They speak poorly of Melanie, while Lady Helena wonders what she is planning to do now. Melanie looks stunning in green, and both Arthur and Beatrice cannot stop giving her compliments. She accepts the flower from Beatrice and gets ready to show everyone her special treat. She notices the table full of dangerous vision, stones that her stepmother brought along. However, those stones are no match for her creation, which will surely capture every child's heart. Beatrice and Arthur excitedly introduce Melanie, while she displays her magical cotton candy, and the two begin sharing it with every student. The Viscount thinks her creation is too simple, but Melanie finds his rude comment quite offensive since it is for the children. But he has no idea she already sabotaged his stones in 3 seconds, exactly as she had planned. The children love it, and even the chairman sees a peaceful vision after taking his first bite. Melanie reveals it is safe magic. Melanie reveals it can boost mana and grant lovely dreams, putting Helena and Thorn at a major disadvantage, while she brags about using simple alchemy. A girl named Alice feels sad about her artwork, until Arthur kindly gives her some cotton candy. She takes a bite and remembers the very first time someone encouraged her to keep painting. This gives her the confidence she needs to finally go out and make friends. You and I both know Melanie's influence here is just so wholesome. All right, stick with me. Our girl Mel just proved to the Viscount that her magical potions really can boost mana. A few curious kids ask what this magical candy is called, but Mel realizes she never actually gave it a name. Marissa names it Sweets of a Happy Dream, which honestly fits the vibe perfectly. Finally, the nobles start respecting her alchemy, and that nasty cursed blood title is officially stripped away. Next, they test Tellen's legendary vision stone, but the thing is completely dead when touched. The crowd is furious, canceling every order while Hildegard just turns her back on Tellen, throwing him under house arrest instead. Behind the scenes, Dominic suggests Mel strike a bargain with the sword demons using a special exchange contract. She has to offer the demon exactly what it craves, using her own unique mana to seal the deal. He summons the spring flower demon, who surprisingly agrees to the pact just for a simple chilled nectar. Now pay attention. This is where the demons secretly drain the magic right out of Tellen's stones. The next morning, Mel finds Tellin in a coma after he tried to poison himself. They decide to trap his spirit in the sword, keeping him as a key witness to testify against Hildegard later on. Then, a surprise invitation arrives for the Sophia Academy ball from the influential Muzella Maxon. Mel is thrilled. This elite school is the perfect place to show off her wares and find new customers. Only problem, she needs an escort. Dominic has to stay hidden, but little Casper soon comes to her rescue. After 10 minutes, our little Casper still has not said a single word. Mel gives him a special trick sword as a gift and casually mentions she has no partner for the ball. So, she invites little Casper to be her official escort. This is the perfect opening for Casper to suggest his master as her partner, and Mel agrees. Before leaving, Casper asks if that jerk Duke Hessman ever actually bought her gifts or took her out. Mel recalls an ugly necklace the Duke once gave her, though she tossed it in the trash instantly. Casper promises to bring his master tomorrow, blushing hard when Mel says his company is the only gift she needs right now. Isaac receives Casper's letter, realizing Mel needs an escort, and this is his golden chance to get close. Rasmus reports that Duke Hessman has been acting strange lately, basically stalking Lady Mel from the shadows. Isaac is certain the Duke will show up at the ball just to bother Mel. He decides to take Casper's advice, planning to catch a thief there too. Finally, Mel meets Casper and the charming Isaac. Mel thinks he is just a father named Matthew, especially after Casper proudly points out that Matthew is single. He happily offers to be her partner for the evening. He claims to be an Earl focused on research, which Mel definitely wants to verify for herself. Noticing her suspicion, he offers his official identification to finally put her mind at ease. I know what you are thinking. He is stunningly handsome, but he is actually hunting a thief who stole his most precious items recently. Meanwhile, Duke Babeloa is fuming after Hildegard's failure cost them a fortune on those useless vision stones. The lady calls Shiria and gets reassured. They believe Mel is doomed anyway, since anyone bearing the dragon's mark is marked for death. Hildegard is still feeling anxious, though, and wants the trial to get Mel expelled immediately. The big day arrives, and Mel looks absolutely stunning in a magnificent blue gown for the gala. To ruin the mood, she gets a letter saying her trial date has been pushed up. Suddenly, her father's men arrive in an unmarked carriage, but Mel has zero interest in seeing them. She stays slumped on the bench, refusing to let them in and ordering them to speak from the dirt instead. They hand over the Duke's letter, but she already knows it's just another command to return home. She rips the letter to shreds with a wicked smile and tells them to get lost. She is a total queen. The pests won't leave her alone until Matthew finally arrives to pick her up. What a pair. Mel tells them her father can talk to her himself, but he should know she is no longer his puppet. Once they are inside the carriage, "Trust me, you and I are going to love this ball." Mel asks Matthew if he usually attends these grand parties. Today's theme is a masquerade. Melina hands him a custom mask and puts on her own to match. "Stick with me. You and I are about to watch a night of secrets turn into total chaos." Upon arrival, Melina is thrilled to see Countess Marcella, who greets her with a warm, genuine smile. But the mood shifts when the lady realizes Melina's escort isn't her fiancé, Duke Hereford. Melina almost forgot. The Countess is sensitive to cheaters because her own former fiancé betrayed her in the exact same way. Melina remembers how she was the only one in the novel to condemn Hereford's affair with Serafina publicly. She introduces Matthew as an acquaintance just as the music starts and the grand dance begins on time. She's shocked at how well Matthew dances for someone who claims to avoid these high society parties entirely. But their moment is ruined when she accidentally stomps on his shoe. Talk about a total mood killer. Now pay attention. This terrified lady approaching them is actually leading Melina straight into a dangerous trap. Melina thinks it's a friendly walk, but in the garden, Lord Hereford is waiting to corner her alone. The Duke isn't here for small talk. Seeing she's not wearing his necklace, he suspects her hidden powers. He quickly casts a subspace barrier around them. He wants to ensure total silence so he can kill her now, since he can't control her anymore. This absolute jerk starts strangling Melina, who has zero clue what he's even ranting about right now. But our girl isn't helpless. She remembers Dominic's advice and aims a sharp kick right where it hurts. The Duke drops in agony. Honestly, we're all hoping he won't be having kids after a hit like that. While Dominic tries to breach the barrier, Melina goads Hereford until he confesses Serafina is his true lover. Perfect timing. Dominic breaks the barrier, and they're back in the ballroom where every noble heard his confession. Matthew wraps his coat around Melina and looks at Hereford with a face of pure, cold disgust. She apologizes to Marcella for the drama, but the Countess is fully supportive and wants the Duke dead. Melina gains a powerful friend, while Hereford is left kneeling in shame in front of the entire court. You and I both saw that coming, right? Well, back in the carriage, Melina is already over it. Matthew confirms the thief was the Duke all along, using his position to steal precious mana from everyone. He sensed the mana flowing through the subspace, but couldn't find the physical vessel Hereford was using to store it. Without that vessel as proof, it's impossible to officially punish the Duke for his crimes just yet. He's determined to make him pay, but tonight, he's finally identified the snake they've been hunting since day one. Still, Matthew looks agitated. Seeing the bruises on Melina's neck is clearly making his blood boil with rage. He admits he planned to save her earlier, but waited because he thought she had a secret plan. Melina quickly denies it, laughing off the whole situation as nothing more than a series of lucky coincidences. He's disappointed she won't open up, fearing he's lost his only chance to really get close to her. Taking a leap of faith, he confesses his worry and finally reveals his true, legendary identity to her. Isaac Matthew Reinhold, the powerful Grandmaster of the Arcane Citadel. Stunned, she pushes for more info and learns Henry and Caleb are high-ranking wizards under his direct command. Then she hits the jackpot. Not only is he a wizard, but he's also a master alchemist. She asks for lessons, and Isaac agrees, provided he gets to help with her revenge against the Duke. It turns out they share the same enemy. Hereford is the very thief Isaac has been hunting down. In the original book, Isaac was labeled a villain after failing to kill the Duke and disappearing forever. This time, they're forming a pact. He even gives her an enchanted bird to send him secret messages. Meanwhile, Hereford leaves the gala in disgrace, already plotting to use his stolen mana for a dark revenge. Serafina calls to calm him down, and he tells her how much he's looking forward to their wedding. He knows she's the only one cruel enough to truly break Melina and destroy her life forever. Then he spots something suspicious in her room, a cursed item linked to the trial Melina is facing soon. So what do you and I take from this? The real battle is only just starting to heat up. Meanwhile, all right, you and I are about to watch Melanie gain some seriously powerful allies in this prestigious noble school. Lady Madeline, a secret loyalist to the crown, is actually the hidden leader of the Antiquity Society. It is the most exclusive and secretive club for antique enthusiasts in the entire kingdom. They have commissioned Melanie to craft a unique memory-storing artifact that only their elite members can ever possess. Suddenly, Sir Dominic delivers her expulsion notice, but Prince Arthur storms into the shop just as she was planning to ask for an audience with the king. She thought getting an audience would be a struggle, but Arthur just casually invites her to tonight's royal banquet. He spots the expulsion letter and tries his best to comfort her. He tells her that status doesn't matter and asks her to wait 20 years until he becomes a Grand Duke so he can restore her noble title himself. Melanie can't help but adore this pure and innocent sunshine prince. She still has a bit of time to prepare a special gift for the king. Arthur tells her the king loves healthy sweets, so he leaves her alone to work her magic in the kitchen. They reach the royal palace by nightfall, and while the king is busy, they run into Prince Cedric. Since Cedric is Arthur's hero, the younger prince begs his brother to join Melanie's lucky draw game. Now pay attention, because you and I are about to see Melanie introduce the most addictive game to this entire fantasy world. After several failed attempts, Arthur finally strikes gold and wins a prize teddy bear. He urges Cedric to try, and Melanie is shocked to see the stoic prince actually waiting for his turn. This villainess has just brought the concept of gacha to the kingdom, and everyone is getting hooked. Cedric draws nothing but blanks and starts to suspect the whole game is a scam. Honestly, Melanie totally rigged it for Arthur, but as the brothers bicker, Arthur thinks it's actually quite sweet. She realizes that little Arthur is just acting out of genuine concern for her. So she explains that people don't need to be blood relatives to enjoy spending every day together. She promises Arthur she will get along with Cedric, not for romance, but because they both love the little prince. But you and I can see those words are actually hurting Cedric. Poor guy, right? Just then, the king arrives, and he is clearly not a fan of Melanie since she is Duke Blackwood's daughter. In this story, the monarchy is weak, and the king became a recluse after the loss of his children. This left the noble houses, led by Hastings and Blackwood, in total control of the kingdom. To break the ice, she presents her gift, which both princes swear the king will absolutely love. She remembers Lady Seraphina giving him a rare bird in the original story, but Melanie has prepared handmade herbal caramels instead. She leans in and whispers the health benefits of the sweets, including a very special secret ingredient. It is sylvan root, which boosts stamina, an idea from Sir Dominic, who knows exactly what middle-aged men are looking for to regain their strength. Luckily, his ancient sword contained the key ingredient, sylvan roots, that were preserved for ages. Aged for 1,000 years, they are the rarest of the rare. As she pitches the medicine, the king begins to soften, feeling nostalgic for the simple sweets of his own childhood. The king is impressed and offers to grant her any one wish she desires. This is exactly what Melanie has been waiting for, the ancient gift law, where the royal family is traditionally bound to repay any noble's gift with a reward of equal value. In the original story, Seraphina was the one who used this law, but Melanie changes history by asking for a private meeting. She gets her audience with the king, but before she can even speak, he cuts her off. He interrupts her because he thinks he knows her game, telling her that while the candy is great, her ambition is way too high. It turns out the king thinks she's trying to marry Prince Cedric and become the next crown princess. Melanie is stunned. She quickly clarifies that she has no romantic feelings for his sons, and that they share nothing but mutual respect. The king is baffled, wondering why on earth she wanted this secret meeting then. Melanie reveals that the Duchess of Blackwood has been illegally crushing small businesses and local shop owners. So what do you and I take from this cliffhanger? Will the king actually help her, or will he just turn a blind eye to the family drama? Stick with me. This lady is firing her own family. She says her shop survives, but small owners won't, so she gives him the petitions to study carefully. While he reads, Mel believes the wise king loves his people and will surely protect the poor commoners. The king finally learns the truth about traitors. He is absolutely furious and will take action if the Duchess broke any laws, making Mel very happy. He then asks what else is bothering her. Mel brings up her own expulsion letter. The king says she has nothing to worry about, as exiling a direct blood heir of the Duke's family makes no sense at all. To his shock, Mel pleads for her own exile and says she wants to leave the Babeloa family forever. The king warns her of the danger, but she explains she is not asking for a simple, ordinary expulsion. Seeing she is determined, the king decides to hear her full, daring plan for the future. Meanwhile, Zion still hopes his big brother and Mel fall deeply in love with each other. After her meeting, Zion tells her about the garden lake and convinces her to stroll with his brother for a special surprise he prepared. Mel can't reject the sweet kid, expecting Prince Cassian to turn down the silly plan anyway. Now watch this. Her prediction is totally wrong when the prince gladly accepts the garden stroll. By the water, Mel mentions the legend that two people who stroll here will eventually become a couple. The prince laughs nervously. but she subtly rejects him, claiming they will be the very first to walk as friends. He watches her closely, wondering how she stays so cheerful when she is about to be abandoned by her own family. He asks if she is happy. Suddenly, Zion triggers his surprise, and colorful confetti rains down on the two of them. Laughing, Mel tells the prince she is genuinely happy to finally be exiled from her family tomorrow. This confuses the prince. You saw that, right? He hopes for her happiness while she only thinks about her new business and shop. The whole moment is absolutely perfect. She wishes him happiness too, and hopes he keeps visiting her little stationery shop in the future. Our guy just got customers owned. Later, Mel discovers that a dragon's curse causes skin to discolor and turn into a nasty, scaly disease on the hands. She remembers a customer pointing out a strange black pattern appearing on her hand lately. The book says these shifting black marks appear only when the power of the dragon manifests. She wonders if the 𝒄𝒍𝒂𝒔𝒔𝒆 are cursed or blessed, since some awaken their hidden abilities through the dragon. Dominic asks why the 𝒄𝒍𝒂𝒔𝒔𝒆 are called cursed, and he is told it is because they have all died. They either have 0 mana or perish only a few months after waking up. She feels fortunate to have a friend like Prince Cassian. He brings her an ancient record of her family, found in the king's hidden library. He believes her estate isn't cursed and asks her to go check it out herself. Mel is shocked by his sudden help. He says he cannot stop the exile, but this help is the least he can do as a friend. Finally, the exile happens. Mel's father is annoyed by the judge's boring legal talk in court. He has no clue his wife bribed the judge to make sure Mel is permanently gone forever. The crowd gasps as Mel boldly tells the court she will not file any counterclaim against them. The corrupt judge tells himself he is doing justice by removing such a wicked, noble lady. Seeing Mel's incredibly proud and cold face, he wonders how evil she must be for the king to approve her public exile. As the judge reads the verdict, Mel is officially exiled. Her father sits in shock, while Mel's face remains perfectly calm and unbothered. And that is how you fire a toxic family in style. Trust me, you and I are just getting started on this wild and legendary business journey. He flees once the whispers start, vanishing before anyone can question him further. Hildegard celebrates her victory, ordering her staff to the shop as originally planned. She wants the scandal to spread across the capital as fast as humanly possible. All right, you and I are watching the king warn Mel that Hildegard is already moving, just as they planned. News of her exile hits the tabloids instantly through Hildegard's paid informants. Little Henry reads the headlines and screams at the top of his lungs like his entire world is falling apart. Carrot enters the room, still fuming, and shares his secret plan to help Mel by reaching out to the Tower Master. Rasmus is losing his mind, trying to explain the disaster to Isaac, who stays oddly calm. Isaac won't move until Mel actually asks for help, and that messenger bird he gave her hasn't returned even once. He figures she's doing fine, or maybe that man Dominic is already protecting her. Just thinking about them together is driving him absolutely crazy. Since they aren't close yet, he worries that jumping in now would just seem incredibly rude and push her away. Little Henry tries to speak up in the office, but Carrot just barges in and the two start an argument. Isaac assumes they've caused another mess, but the truth is much more wholesome. These sweet kids just want the three of them to comfort Mel after her family's betrayal. Isaac claims it's rude to interfere with her plans, yet Henry notices him holding his paperwork completely upside down and crumpled. He finally admits he's worried sick about Mel, unable to hide his true feelings from the kids. He stands up, finally agreeing to go visit her with the children. The three of them leave hand in hand. It's clear he loves kids just as much as Mel. Meanwhile, Mel returns to her shop only to find the entire place completely destroyed. She and Dominic expected trouble, but they never imagined it would be this heartless. Traumatic memories flood back of when Hildegard used to threaten to burn her dreams down. Now watch this part carefully. The Duchess thinks she can bully a commoner, but Mel is never letting her get away with it. Mel stays calm and demands the Duchess pay for every single bit of the damage. Hildegard laughs and tells her to move, but Mel slaps her hand away with a royal document. She grabs the paper, convinced that Mel has just handed her a forgery. But her jaw drops when she sees Mel is now 𝒄𝒍𝒂𝒔𝒔𝒆, the 14th Marquis. She realizes why Mel visited the palace, and now, as equals, Mel demands her full compensation. She demands the Duchess pay for every loss. You and I have to love a girl with a plan. The 𝒄𝒍𝒂𝒔𝒔𝒆 family was a lineage of wizards said to be cursed by dragons, once standing at the very peak of the nobility thanks to their incredible awakened magical powers. Everything changed when Mel's mother passed away. She was the last one left with the family's gift. The 𝒄𝒍𝒂𝒔𝒔𝒆 stole most of their wealth and land, and since the family went into hiding, no one has dared to step up and restore their lost honor. During her secret meeting, Mel requested the king grant her the 𝒄𝒍𝒂𝒔𝒔𝒆 title the very moment she was officially exiled. Our girl wasn't about to let herself be kicked out without a massive backup plan. The king worried about her choice. The king warned her that the last 𝒄𝒍𝒂𝒔𝒔𝒆 assets were just a pile of rubble, and every person responsible for managing them had long since vanished. Mel doesn't care, and her burning resolve actually convinces the king that she can rebuild the house from nothing. Hildegard thinks she can seize property from a commoner, but the rules are different for nobles. It is strictly against the law to treat a fellow member of the peerage this way. As a marchioness, Mel is taking this straight to court to crush her stepmother legally. She also reminds the wicked woman to address her by her proper title of Marquis. Even if the sentence is light, Mel plans to punish her by making her rot in jail, which will absolutely crush the Duchess's high and mighty dignity. Because Mel never attended an academy, the Duchess still looks down on her and dares her to try and take this to a trial. She clearly doesn't get it, but you and I know she's doomed. All right, you and I are diving into a high-stakes noble rivalry, where one wrong move means ruin. The Duke is already fuming with how she runs things, and if Hildegard breaks even one minor aristocratic law, there is a massive chance he will throw her away. Suddenly, Dominic arrives with exciting news. The illegal demolition was caught on tape with witnesses everywhere, finally putting the Duchess in a massive bind. She storms out, unknowingly stealing a cursed pendant Mel used as bait to trap her once and for all. Mel predicts her downfall, hoping she finally receives the nightmare she so truly deserves. Inside the carriage now, Hildegard eyes the pendant, planning to frame Mel for creating these suspicious and illegal artifacts. Suddenly, strange markings crawl over her skin. She panics as horrific memories of her talk with Mel's mother return. The late Duchess knew about the affair with her husband and shared that she was being poisoned, rather than dying from a dragon curse as everyone believed. Hildegard is shocked to hear she knew everything. But Mel's mother just grins back. She leaves a final, chilling warning for Hildegard. She will die a truly horrific death if she does not stop her evil ways and find a better path. Now watch closely. This is the exact moment her dark past and the runes of death finally catch up. She screams like a lunatic before stumbling out of the carriage right where Mel can see her. Time suddenly freezes as Isaac warns Mel not to approach the Duchess, who has completely lost her mind. Mel is totally stunned to see Isaac again after all this time. She is worried, though. Normally, the stone causes nightmares, but this looks like something much more dangerous. For a person as wicked as she is, the illusion might swallow her mind completely, causing physical symptoms she will not be able to escape for a while. Isaac tells her not to feel guilty, since the Duchess earned every bit of this nightmare. Mel relaxes and thanks him, relieved that she might never have to deal with that woman ever again. The two of them sit outside her wrecked shop now, wondering if the Duchess will become a threat to the people around her. Isaac explains that it is fine, but risky for Mel since Hildegard holds a deep grudge, then shares that when he was 10 years old. He killed a monster who preyed on children, and despite him deserving it, he still felt strange about it. You and I can see he is just trying to be a supportive friend here, which makes Mel realize he is truly on her side. The Duchess is gone, but the threat of Duke Hessman is still very real. She worries about the Duke until she notices Isaac using her nickname, which makes the poor guy start sweating. To his surprise, she allows it since they are officially friends now. Carrot and Henry finally arrive, and the sight of the destroyed shop leaves them completely shaken. Carrot checks if Mel is hurt. When he finds out her family is behind this, he goes absolutely ballistic. Even Marissa got into trouble for making a voodoo doll of the evil Duchess. He proudly explains he kept the students away to give Mel some space after she was kicked out of the family. It is so great seeing Carrot finally acting like a kid. Henry sees Mel is focused on Carrot and jumps into her lap to steal back all of her attention. Carrot gets jealous, immediately exposing that little Henry is not even their master's real son. They start bickering, but Carrot makes sure Mel knows his master is single and asks if he is handsome. She agrees, making Carrot beam while little Henry looks ready to cry until Isaac finally stops the boy. Mel notices Isaac looks pretty pleased with himself. Just like Dominic, he clearly loves receiving a good compliment. Dominic shows up fresh from a wash and clearly hates Isaac's guts right away. He is about to reveal his true identity, but Mel stops him before things get too complicated. Meanwhile, Prince Cassian hears rumors that Viscount Tellin was the one who sent the cursed stone to the Duchess. Since she was leaving Mel's shop when it happened, Cassian is worried the case will somehow link back to her. So we leave it there, investigation officially over. He realizes he made another exception for Alina and finds it strange that he isn't even bothered by it. All right, stick with me because Prince Arthur just fast-tracked Alina's title ceremony to happen in only 2 weeks. While the court believes the prince is simply doing her a favor, he's actually using the entire event to distract the public from those dark reports concerning Duchess Margaret's curse. He claims he isn't a romantic, yet just thinking about seeing her during the ceremony makes him smile. However, for Alina, this sudden ceremony is causing her nothing but distress. It's great to finally be recognized as a Marchioness, but there's a catch that could ruin everything. Within 7 days of the ceremony ending, she must appoint a manager for the estate or lose her status. She needs to find a member of House Thorne who managed the estate to ask about the family curse, but she has no idea how to track them down. Plus, she can't leave the shop for too long, so Leo agrees to search for them if she promises him a whole mountain once her territory finally gets bigger. Now, watch closely, because Leo is actually terrified of leaving her all alone. With her unknown curse acting up in enemies everywhere, he is seriously worried about what might happen while he's gone. Alina never had a real family, so Leo is the first person who has felt like a little brother to her. These emotions are all very new to her, and she smiles sweetly while promising him she will be fine. He's flattered to be her closest aide, but his mood quickly turns sour when she says Julian will be there to protect her while he's searching for her family. Leo still hates Julian, but he tells her to just use the handsome guy while he searches for her family, and Alina is sure she won't even see Julian since he's undoubtedly very busy. Or so she thought. Julian has been helping her with the shop's restoration for several days already. With the first floor finally restored, they begin their first alchemy training session. But before she can master her abilities, they need to dive deep into her true nature. You and I both know Julian meant he needed to study her mana, but he's not complaining and actually wants to know every little detail about her life. She doesn't want to talk about her business plans or money, so she just gives him a finger heart and tells him that is all she has got. Julian finds her adorable and laughs, wondering if these strange feelings will fade as they grow closer. But as she starts calling him master and handsome, he can't help but giggle even more. He realizes right then that his feelings for her are only going to grow much stronger. He explains that the pure mana of an alchemist should flow like waves, but Alina's energy is so tangled that she can only use a tiny bit of her true power. To help her fix the flow, Julian takes her hand and begins to guide her energy. She feels a flash of pure light, but then it feels like her entire body is being crushed. He notices her struggling and wants her to stop, but she stays persistent until her vision begins to blur and fade away. Drenched in sweat, she finally hits her limit and passes out. Julian believes a mana explosion knocked her out and caused those black marks, just before she completely collapses right on top of him. She collapses onto Julian, and as her breathing becomes difficult, she cries out for help while he immediately uses his magic to save her. She gradually starts to feel better while resting on Julian's chest. It's a bit awkward, so he respectfully asks her to step down once she is feeling better. She jumps away instantly, claiming her mana increased, while Julian just chuckles and says that one session doesn't usually result in such a massive power boost. So, he touches her to measure the flow, and is shocked to find her mana really has grown, as if it was always there in her body. Her twisted energy is finally flowing right, though he isn't sure if this change will actually last. Elena is relieved and determined to master her powers quickly, so she's ready to fight Serena when that girl finally returns to face her. She tells Julian this is for revenge, especially since Serena and Lord Hector are currently hiding out together in the Sanctum Kingdom. Rumors say they are developing new holy water and artifacts to distribute widely, since they always seem to do business together. And with the Pope's backing, any scandal they cause will just be buried and forgotten forever. Trust me, she knows how this story ends. All right, you and I are diving into a world where the high sanctuary crafts miracle water, used by Lady Serena to play the saint. Melina wants to expose this relic at the shady night market auction before it ever formally reaches the Aurelian Empire. Since things could get deadly, Sir Alistair tags along. They go undercover and honestly, they pull off the noble disguises perfectly. Melina listens as people praise the auctioneer's silver tongue. Apparently, the man can sell ice to a polar bear, sparking her curiosity. When the bidding begins, she is absolutely stunned by the crowd's frantic and obsessive reaction to the mysterious host. The bidders lose their minds over every single item he puts up for sale. But Melina finds it all really creepy, like the whole room is under a spell. She spots a strange mark on the host's arm, unaware he is already watching her. The grand finale is the miracle water that supposedly cures every known illness. This is exactly what Melina came for. The bidding war erupts, and the room goes silent when our girl drops a massive bid of 1 million gold. The price keeps climbing, leaving her internally weeping at the thought of going bankrupt just for a single bottle. Alistair sees her panic and casually bids 10 million gold pieces without blinking. The entire room freezes in shock. Melina panics, but Alistair just smiles, telling her everything is fine between two close friends. They win the item, but on the way home, the mysterious auctioneer stops them and asks for their real names. Melina recognizes the man instantly and notices him intensely scanning her hands, as if looking for a specific mark. She shuts him down immediately, reminding him that asking for a guest's identity is a major violation of the auction house rules. The man backtracks, stuttering that they will cross paths again before he quickly disappears into the dark shadows. It is bizarre. The guy was so smooth on stage, but turned into a rambling mess the moment he stood before her. She admits he is quite handsome, which immediately causes Sir Alistair to react with a very cold shoulder. But the second she says the man is actually quite annoying, Alistair's mood and temperament instantly brighten. Back at her shop, Dominic's voice rings in her head with an update on his search for Baron Thorne's descendants. The mental link is far too fuzzy, likely because they are too far apart, so she just warns him to be extremely careful on his journey back. Seeing Alistair study the bottle, Melina realizes he probably has a lot of questions about who Dominic really is. She decides to be honest, explaining to the knight that Dominic is a loyal ally to their shared cause. Still, she cannot reveal the full and complicated truth of his identity just yet. To her relief, Alistair is a total gentleman and promises to wait until she is finally ready to share everything. Now pay attention here. As they inspect the liquid, Alastair senses a strange raw mana instead of any actual divine power radiating from it. He takes her hand, sensing her anxiety, and reassures her that every dark and evil secret eventually comes to light. Besides, he is fully certain he can figure out exactly what is wrong with this so-called holy water. Looking at him, she realizes he's become a truly reliable man she can lean on in this dangerous world. Then he snaps her back to reality, insisting they start their training, and it is going to be brutal today. Alastair works her until she is collapsing from exhaustion, earning him the title of a truly evil drill sergeant. Exhaustion aside, she is just happy the vintage stationery order is done and hopes the clients actually love it. Meanwhile, Lady Madeline and her friends unwrap the package from Melina to discover a beautiful, locked diary. It looks simpler than Madeline expected, but she absolutely loves the antique style of the vintage lock and key. But you and I know this isn't just paper. Once Madeline reads the instructions, the magic really begins. Anything she writes in her diary instantly appears in every single one of her friends' diaries simultaneously. They start using them to chat, drawing curious eyes from students all across the grounds. Soon, Melina's shop becomes the biggest trend at 𝒄𝒍𝒂𝒔𝒔𝒆 Academy. However, her friends notice that Madeline's mind is clearly wandering far away from their shared group diaries. Madeline explains that the noblewomen following Lady Serena have been acting extremely suspicious over the past few days. They were quiet for a bit while Duchess Blackwood was ill and recovering. But now they are acting arrogant again, and everyone is dying to know what they are planning next. Little Haley, a 7-year-old student, steps up and offers to uncover their secrets for the group. While Duke Hastings expresses deep concern for the Duchess, Serena just offers a cold smile, claiming that everything is unfolding according to a divine plan. The Duke knows her plan is far from ordinary, but he does not care as long as he can still use her influence. And trust me, these two aren't in love. Lord Lawrence didn't pry and just asked why they're heading back to the Empire. All right, you and I are about to watch Lady Sybil prepare her dark weapon to finally eliminate Melody for good. She reveals a legendary holy blade, a weapon designed to purge other races by causing a total mana collapse. Since Melody is secretly a dragon, this holy sword will essentially be a death sentence crafted specifically for her. Next, Sybil unveils her second scheme, flooding the kingdom with blessed water and sacred artifacts. She claims these relics are so revolutionary that even the Grand Bishop himself ordered her to sell them. Alastair senses that Sybil has grown far more sinister, yet he agrees since selling sacred items is incredibly profitable. So he fully approves. They plan to sell them at the boutique he is building near the Institute, right across from Melody's shop. While Sybil holds him, Alastair decides they must get engaged the moment they return so nobody can take her. Sybil is already lost in a daydream, imagining the whole kingdom celebrating their perfect, high society romance. Back at the shop, Sir Cedric is visibly annoyed to find Master Julian and Melody holding hands. In reality, the two of them are simply performing their routine mana stabilization training. Now pay attention, because Cedric still hates the guy, so Melody sends Julian back to the magic tower. But the younger brother just shouts that he's staying put, because he already lives under Melody's roof. Once Julian finally departs, Cedric admits the real reason he can't stand the young mage's presence. He's terrified that Julian's influence might eventually cause him to lose Melody forever. Melody reassures him they are family, which finally calms him down. Their sweet, platonic bond is honestly adorable. On a more serious note, Cedric has tracked down her long-lost relatives. However, they keep fleeing from him, as if they expect the legendary guardian to execute them all. Luckily, he has placed magical markers on them, so it won't be long before he corners them again. Meeting them before the ceremony was the goal, but Melody decides to just contact them after the event. She also plans to reveal Cedric as the legendary hero during her upcoming official confirmation ceremony. With the Grand Bishop backing Sybil, Melody wants to show everyone that the kingdom's greatest hero is hers. Melody offers Cedric a noble title, but to her shock, he only wants to be her humble butler. While helping out, he discovers a passion for design and learns that modest men are the most reliable. She realizes Cedric is moving on from a life of war to find something he truly loves doing. However, she worries that a lowly butler position is beneath someone as magnificent and powerful as he is. You and I can see how happy Cedric is just being considered for the butler role. Wholesome goals, right? Anyway, with a list of nobles provided by Prince Arthur, the two of them start the busy work of choosing who to invite to the grand ceremony. Lady Marcella, her social circle, the local noble children, and the institute president are all on the list. Everything is going perfectly for Melody until her guests suddenly start declining because Sybil scheduled her engagement party for the exact same day. But Melody isn't sweating it because she has her own secret weapons against Sybil and Beatrice. Another rejection letter arrives, which really starts to test our leading lady's patience. Her frustration finally melts away when she spots a new letter from her secret informant, Helen. She truly values Helen's help, as the girl constantly sends over vital intelligence regarding Sybil's next moves. Melody learns Sybil held a secret gala to flaunt her divine powers, and the rumors are spreading fast. Also, Helen reports that the Queen, who has suffered from mana sickness for 10 years, will soon dine with Sybil. Knowing this could make Sybil unstoppable, our little spy is begging Melody to step in and intervene. Melody isn't shocked, knowing Sybil healed the Queen and every other character back in the original story. From high lords to beggars, which eventually led to the entire kingdom worshipping her like she was a living goddess from heaven. So what do you and I make of this? Sybil's sudden, godlike power just feels a bit too suspicious. All right, you and I are diving into a romance where our Lady Melanie can't stop blushing over how Sir Isaac is doing. And as if Isaac was reading her thoughts, he turns up at her shop that evening, catching her right as she is thinking of him. Fumbling for words, he claims he only came by for the moonlight, which Melanie finds totally ridiculous. He tries to play it cool, but his bright red ears prove he just really missed her. When he actually admits it, her heart skips a beat. Trust me, this ship is finally sailing. During a walk, he mentions he finally tracked down that mysterious man they saw at the auction house. This stranger has been searching for her, and get this, he is actually a distant relative from her father's noble 𝒄𝒍𝒂𝒔𝒔𝒆 bloodline. Isaac believes this man holds the secret to removing her dragon's curse, and since he gave him her shop's address, the relative will be visiting her very soon. Without even realizing, Melanie bites her lip in deep thought, but pay attention here. Isaac reaches out to gently touch her mouth and stop her from hurting herself. She pulls back quickly, thankful for the darkness so Isaac can't see the bright red blush creeping across her face. Back at the shop, the auctioneer Basil 𝒂𝒂𝒔𝒔𝒆 arrives in disguise, looking absolutely terrified. Melanie asks why he is there, but Basil starts rambling some nonsense about his height. She calls him out on his obvious lie, and Basil seems relieved she can see the truth. It clicks now. Melanie realizes the auction crowds were hyped because Basil was using a special ability. Basil breaks down, begging for help because priests from the Holy See are hunting his family down to kill them. Unlike the rest, Melanie is direct royalty of the 𝒂𝒂𝒔𝒔𝒆 line, meaning her hidden powers could save them all. He reveals the family was actually blessed by a dragon, and the tragedy only began once that legendary dragon fell into a deep sleep. Melanie assumes this kills people, but the truth is much darker. The side effects are just mana issues. Those who died were actually murdered by the church. She discovers a family genius already fixed their mana reflux, so that isn't the problem. The real danger is that the entire bloodline is being hunted down to total extinction. Melanie vows to protect them and decides to use their cure to heal the Empress herself. In the original story, Seraphina became the Empress's healer in the books, but you and I know our girl is stealing that fame for herself today. Basil says they just need to soak the royal root in water to cure the Empress instantly. It looks like today is really Melanie's lucky day, since Basil brought the exact roots she needs. But before she can grab them, Isaac steps in and puts a stop to it. Knowing she'll test it on herself, Isaac insists she stay cautious and let a professional pharmacist conduct some preliminary research on the medicine before she tries anything. His stubbornness is annoying, yet she feels a strange warmth knowing someone actually cares this much. Things get awkward until Basil interrupts, assuming the two of them are actually a couple. Both of them freeze up. But the tension breaks when Dominic arrives, absolutely furious at finding the relative he has been searching for this entire time. Later, Lady Marcella tells Melanie that Serafina has been visiting the Empress with every medicine imaginable. Nothing has worked yet, and the only thing Serafina hasn't tried is using her own divine holy powers on her. To help Melanie get an audience, Marcella invites both her and Serafina to an imperial tea party with the Empress. Since Serafina is running late, it's the perfect chance for Melanie to win the Empress over. Melanie introduces herself politely. But Marcella panics when the Empress starts rambling about her glory days in the wilderness. She's worried Melanie will be bored by stories of hiking and the great outdoors. Don't worry, our girl has this. Melanie shocks the Empress by revealing that she actually shares a deep passion for hiking as well. Melanie's talk of drinking wine in the Highlands brings a spark of life back to the Empress's expression. She can't wait to recover and hike. Trust me, you and I just saw a victory. Stick with me, everything was perfect for Lady Alina, until her rival Lady Serafina crashed the party. Serafina sits across from Alina, and the Empress seems thrilled to see her since she has been treating the royal illness. Serafina brags that the high priest confirmed her holy grace and that she could become a saintess. But she claims she is staying behind just to help the kingdom cure the sick and suffering. Lady Margaret and Alina are totally annoyed by how Serafina uses the high priest's name, but Alina knows there is a better way. Suddenly, a butler interrupts the tension to announce that our favorite little ball of energy, Prince Julian, has arrived. He runs toward the Empress with pure joy. But when he spots the tea party, he immediately acts like a tiny gentleman, greeting the ladies with grace, which Alina finds adorable. Julian is shocked to see Alina, and when his mother asks how they met, he proudly tells everyone that it is thanks to Alina that the Emperor found his strength. He starts raving about Alina's amazing innovations, and the Empress remembers this was the girl Julian wanted to marry. Now watch this, she does not even need to brag. Letting the prince brag for her is the perfect way to raise her own status. He even mentions that Alina brought a gift, a special flower that can actually help the Empress's failing health today. Julian happily chimes in, telling his mother that Alina's remedies actually work without any of the nasty side effects of holy magic. Serafina snaps back, insisting her holy magic is perfect and has no negative consequences. But our little prince isn't buying it. He calls her out, saying she's no true priestess and has never actually cured magic sickness before. Alina is loving this unexpected help from the prince. You and I both know it is like he was coached. Good boy. The Empress takes the medicine, and for a second, things get weird, making Alina super nervous. Once the Queen Mother says her headache and the pressure are gone, she heaves a sigh of relief. For the first time in forever, the Empress feels peace, and Alina is happy to provide the weekly dosage. She is stunned when the Empress takes her hand to express deep gratitude, wondering how she found a cure for the magic sickness that has plagued the royal family for 10 years. While they chat, Serafina rudely drops her teacup to break the mood, telling the Empress she will handle the treatment, using her own holy magic. Alina expected this, so to push Serafina out of the picture for good. She claims that mixing herbs with holy magic hasn't been tested. Serafina simply has to wait until the herbal treatment is finished. Alina can only imagine how furious Serafina is after her evil sister's scheme was totally ruined. Another noblewoman tries to defend the holy magic, but Lady Margaret shuts that down instantly. Not on her watch. The Empress decides she wants Alina to visit weekly, an offer our girl happily accepts. Seraphina tells Margaret they will meet soon, but Alina cuts her off, saying they should be the ones to set the meeting since they have so much to discuss. Seraphina corners Alina and warns her that she is going to regret making an enemy out of her. But Alina fires back, saying it is Seraphina who will regret picking up the trash Alina threw away. She even makes a joke about the Duke's private health, seeing as she kicked him where it hurts twice. Alina suggests Seraphina use her magic on her own mother, but Seraphina's cold reaction is actually quite disturbing. Alina knew Seraphina used to cherish her mother, but now she barely cares and even plans to take over the family business just to fight Alina. Before the talk ends, Seraphina warns Alina and her allies to stay out of her way, essentially declaring an all-out war on them. Alina just tells her to try. Seraphina is fuming, and even though she took the title of royal healer, she wonders why Alina is so ready to fight. She thinks of the High Priest, looking to him for a new world, but then Duke William storms in screaming about his disgrace, catching her off guard. He says Prince Arthur exposed his private life in public. It is his cheating affair, but Seraphina comforts him since they are together. Trust me, you and I know this is getting messy. All right, you and I are about to watch a lie turn into a total disaster. She reveals her sister has been sneaking out with a statusless commoner named Dominic, and being the viper she is, she's ready to strike. She launches a smear campaign. Rumors spread like wildfire, and she's convinced Melisande will never be able to clear her name after this scandal. Now pay attention here. This is where her trap finally snaps shut. While her master plan unfolds, Basil rushes in shouting their names, waving the latest morning newspaper in his hand. They read the headline together, exposing her alleged affair with Dominic while still betrothed to Duke Harrington. Neither of them speaks. Basil panics, urging them to issue a public denial immediately. But Melisande and Dominic just share a laugh, telling him this was all part of the trap they set. Deep down, she's actually worried about Isaac, fearing he might start believing she really is a cheating noblewoman. Meanwhile, at the Arcane Citadel, it's literally snowing in Isaac's office because pure ice is radiating from his hands. Rasmus teases him about Dominic being handsome, questioning if the scandal is true, until quick-witted little Henry shuts him down. Isaac is clearly bothered by the rumors, finally admitting just how much he cares for Melisande. Before his mood turns truly dark, he orders Rasmus to leave the office immediately. Isaac chooses to trust Melisande, turning his attention to the mysterious dragon egg that still refuses to show any signs of life. Then he recalls the legend of the dragon's blessed bloodline, wondering if he should present this egg as a gift for her upcoming elevation in rank. Melisande realizes it, Lady Shiria's reception day, and orders Dominic to infiltrate the gala and monitor every move they make. He reports that after a thorough sweep, there is no sign of a direct assassination plot or any dark conspiracy currently unfolding. The priests seem to be exceptionally talented in their craft. Though their specific divine powers remain a mystery to him, he senses something big is brewing and decides to stay on guard before heading out. He hands her a crystal ball to share his vision of the area, telling her to shake it twice to activate the link. Okay, I know what you're thinking, but Isaac makes a surprise appearance just as Dominic is arriving. They exchange greetings, and he presents the mysterious egg, insisting she accept it as a formal gift. She's stunned to learn it's a dragon's egg. He warns her that hatching one is nearly impossible, and most die inside. However, since she possesses the legendary dragon's blessing, she might actually meet a dragon. He believes this beast will awaken and become a powerful ally for her. Melisande sets the egg aside for now, telling Isaac that something very exciting is about to unfold today. Isaac mentions the small reception at House Valerius, assuming she would have gone there if he had not arrived at her place first. She smiles, revealing she's already sent Dominic there using invisibility magic, and shows him the linked crystal ball he gave her. Isaac warns her that spying is incredibly dangerous for Dominic, unless he happens to be a master mage. But she promises to explain later, hoping she can soon reveal Dominic's true identity to the curious mage. They announce a sacred covenant between the kingdom and the holy order of people, planning to distribute relics and holy water at the Valerius and Harrington trade centers. They claim this holy water makes the blind see and the lame walk again. Dominic isn't impressed by the artifacts. When he analyzes them, the energy feels totally different from the holy power he's known, making him worry whether they're all just clever fakes. Duke Harrington draws the crowd's attention, explaining that centuries ago, the Grand Pontiff gave Kshatriya's ancestors a light to dispel darkness and a holy sword to purge all evil. Kshatriya presents the holy sword, leaving Melisande baffled because this legendary blade was never supposed to be part of the original story. Dominic is stunned when Kshatriya claims the sword is directly linked to the ancient hero Dominic, the kingdom's greatest champion who once defended the realm from invaders, just like Dominic himself. He desperately wants to correct her and state he has zero connection to that holy sword. She claims many believe he is the hero's son, which the pontiff openly confirms. Isaac is taken aback by Melisande's sudden reaction. She thinks they're insane and wants to expose them, knowing Dominic was always celibate. Dominic is ready to smash the entire reception hall. And trust me, you and I are going to want to see the fallout of this plan in 2 days. All right, you and I are about to see Lady Mel set the stage to expose the truth after Lord Dominic rages through the mountains. Later, the duo reads through the letters that arrived right after Lady Kshatriya announced her engagement and her backing from the high priest. Every noble is making excuses for missing Lady Mel's debut ceremony, but Our Lady is not bothered by the snub at all. In fact, this gives her the perfect chance to figure out who in the kingdom is truly on her side. Sir Basil storms in fuming over Kshatriya's news, and he is stunned to see how calm Lady Mel stays through the entire situation. Then he spots what he thinks is a massive quail egg, but seriously, no bird on earth could lay an egg that enormous. When he realizes it is actually a dragon egg, he can't understand why Lady Mel hasn't tried to hatch the beast yet. Sir Basil seems to know a thing or two about ancient lore, claiming that Mel's own noble bloodline might be the key. Since hatching a dragon requires immense power, he believes she could wake the creature with just a single touch from her hand. Lady Mel gets all excited and holds it tight, but after an awkward silence with zero results, she feels completely embarrassed. She snaps at Sir Basil for giving her false hope, but then, crack, a tiny, adorable dragon with human features suddenly hatches. Another baby. The hatchling opens his eyes and flashes a smile so incredibly sweet that Lady Mel's heart just melts on the spot. The tiny dragon who Mel and Dominic were minding suddenly calls Lord Isaac father the moment he arrives. They really do look alike, right down to the mark under their eyes. It turns out Lord Isaac has been secretly pouring his own mana into the egg while trying to help it hatch. Then the baby dragon calls Lady Mel mother, basically making them a family. This is honestly just too cute. But of course, Lord Dominic is a total hater, immediately telling the dragon to address Lady Mel with proper noble titles. The dragon isn't having it and gives him some serious attitude before hiding back inside his shell, claiming the hatching process was never finished. Wait, did he just unhatch himself? Lady Mel suspects she just lacks the necessary mana to wake him fully, so she plans to investigate the mystery of the dragon blood later. For now, she must put everything aside and focus on preparing for her grand confirmation ceremony at the palace tomorrow. Meanwhile, Mel's loyal rescue squad is busy at the magic spire, and little Henry is watching them with wide, curious eyes. He sits in silence while Zion and Carrot work on secret plans, until Henry suddenly drops a massive bomb about Isaac and Lady Mel being in a relationship. Carrot quickly jumps in to reassure the others that their master is a truly wonderful and kind person. The others are worried if a man like Isaac is actually a good partner for Lady Mel, given his dark and mysterious reputation. But you and I won't believe what Henry reveals next. Isaac and Lady Mel now have a baby together. Sorry, kids, they are now parents. Zion feels terrible for his brother. Marissa is disappointed that Dominic lost, while Carrot is proud that Isaac, his favorite candidate, won. The time has finally come for Lady Mel's grand confirmation ceremony. Zion and Carrot look incredibly sharp in their formal suits, and even little Henry stands out as the most dapper kid there. They are whispering about a surprise to cheer Lady Mel up, though they really just want to ask her about the secret baby. Suddenly, their leader, Lady Marissa, arrives. She is absolutely livid, holding a gossip rag that shows a scandalous picture of Dominic with a headline calling him a notorious womanizer. The boys turn bright red at the steamy poster, while Carrot quickly covers Henry's innocent eyes. These kids are the best. They can't believe the opposition is playing so dirty. Plus, Marissa overheard her brother and Lady Shiria plotting something sinister involving the holy water. They plan to announce their engagement and broadcast a shocking message to every corner of the kingdom. They want to link their magic spheres to every plaza and announce they won't sell their blessed water to anyone attending Lady Mel's ceremony. Marissa is getting really concerned because she knows the nobility will choose holy water over a simple party. To make matters even worse, they just got word that the entire schedule for the day has been suddenly changed. Mel's ceremony will happen 30 minutes before those two cheaters. Zion is confused why his father would authorize such a sudden change, but he stays sharp. He isn't worried since the Emperor clearly favors Lady Mel, and Carrot is certain that this was all part of her plan. Hours before the ceremony, Lady Mel had a private meeting with the Emperor, who is deeply grateful for her help in saving the Empress. They are discussing the flow of the event, but the Emperor can't stop staring at the mysterious box she brought with her. Lady Mel offers him another special gift, and the Emperor's face lights up with pure joy when she reveals a magical pie that regrows hair. Just as she expected, the Emperor is thrilled. Trust me, you and I are going to love this revenge. Stick with me. You and I are about to see how Our Lady secures her future with the king. The sovereign secretly asked the arcane citadel for a hair tonic, but since his current brew is bitter, the three of them crafted a sweet, edible version instead. The king takes a bite. He is stunned that medicine can taste this delicious and practically vibrates, with excitement for his hair to return. He showers Lady Meldenik with praise, giving her the perfect opening to request a last-minute schedule change for her investiture. While he doesn't quite grasp her plan, the king trusts her completely, even offering her a future royal invitation for a summer holiday. It seems like his way of offering comfort, knowing her sister and her former fiancé are about to tie the knot. Our king is such a gem. As Meldenik heads to the Great Hall, a worried Isaac intercepts her, weaving a protective enchantment directly into her dress. She draws a steadying breath and enters the chamber where the sovereign waits to grant her a noble title. Everything is ready, and every person she invited to witness her. Ascension is in attendance, including that friendly scribe who covered her boutique grand opening. The king officially names her Marchioness Meldenik of House Canoa, as his herald proclaims her new vast holdings, which include the towering peaks within the Perpena territories. Several coastal estates, and nothing else. Everyone expected a meager list after her father drained every coin from the Canoa family coffers. Seeing poor Basil weeping in the corner only fuels her fire to reclaim her family's stolen legacy. The crown also grants her a sprawling new manor, heavy gold bars and various treasures, and to finish the rite, Meldenik kneels and swears to be a faithful servant of the kingdom. Before the revelry begins, Meldenik apologizes for omitting her final asset, and the entire room gasps as Sir Dominic suddenly materializes beside her. Now pay attention, because the royal herald is absolutely losing it, thinking she brought a common scandal to a holy rite. The king keeps his cool, trusting Meldenik completely as she begins her detailed explanation to the court. She reveals her soul contract with a legendary blade, announcing that the weapon is the one and only holy sword Dominicus. Simply called Dominic, A wave of pure shock hits everyone. The sovereign, the nobles, and every single guest present. While Meldenik and Dominic confer through their mental link, they prepare for the next phase, a display of raw power right in the hall. The Hall of Cetron bears the name of the realm's greatest hero, serving as the site where every investiture occurs, because its ancient walls were built to be entirely immune to all magic. To freely channel magic within these hallowed stones, one must be more powerful than the hero Cetron himself, and legend says only the blade Dominicus can radiate such a holy glow. Now, the king and his council are starting to believe Meldenik is telling the truth. She informs the king that certain nobles have been spreading vile rumors, claiming the great hero is merely her scandalous lover or even a distant blood relative. Dominic puffs out his chest, looking utterly offended by the petty gossip. His nerves make the act a bit clumsy, but fortunately, he still manages to win the sovereign's approval. Meldenik asks for royal permission to deal with those who dragged the Holy Blade's name through the mud. And yeah, I know what you are thinking. Revenge time. Our girl is more than ready to make those traitors regret everything. Back at the estate, Duke Babeloa is seething, unable to believe Shiria would betray her own sister so ruthlessly. He's even more unsettled by Shiria's obsession with the sacred draft, and with his nerves frayed to the breaking point. His twisted daughter suggests he drink the sanctified essence, promising him it will soothe his racing heart. But after draining the vial, the Duke collapses, and she just stands over him with a chilling smirk. Seriously, this girl is unhinged. As she leaves the room, a jittery Lennox tells her that Meldenik's investiture has officially started. But she just shrugs it off, convinced that whatever Meldenik is planning will never touch them. Lennox, who is clearly shaken, as he should be, warns Shiria not to underestimate her sister. She promises him that the high priest is on their side and that her traps are set, so he can finally stop worrying. The pair begins their walk toward the Grand Cathedral, where Shiria asks if he ever located the blade Dominicus. He did not, but he wields a different weapon called the Ego Sword, hoping it will suffice. And trust me, you and I are going to love this. The news just hit that their sword is a fake. You and I are watching the lords, still clinging to the Hessmen and Babeloa names. But the gossip is finally shifting now that Mel proved her claims right in front of the Emperor himself. She even cleared the air. Dominic isn't her lover. He's actually the legendary heroic sword incarnate. Just then, the bride and groom's grand arrival is announced. Lennox checks the video sphere to make sure the broadcast is running perfectly. Too bad their joy is cut short when a furious noble demands to know the truth about the holy sword rumors. Lennox tries to deny it, but pay attention here. Mel arrives to expose this cheating pair once and for all. Mel calls out, and the legendary hero finally emerges from within the golden blade. He warns them of the judgment coming for staining his legacy by claiming a fake sword is his son. Mel is definitely impressed. Dominic looks 10 times cooler now that he's glowing like a true legend. How pathetic. Shiria starts wailing, accusing Mel of being so obsessed that she'd ruin this sacred engagement ceremony. But honestly, Mel is absolutely loving every single second of this delicious chaos. She seizes the moment to announce that the real heroic sword has declared their holy relic a total fraud. Shiria refuses to believe it, screaming that Mel is just trying to hide her secret affair with this man. You saw that too. Their audacity is insane. Dominic loses his patience and unleashes a massive wave of power that drowns the hall in dust, forcing Lennox to realize the truth. Wielding his sword of light, he calls them out for spreading those disgusting rumors about a fake affair. What really angers him is how they insulted his 1,000-year legacy by calling that fake sword his son. With just one effortless swing of his blade, he brings Duke Lennox crashing to his knees. Dominic is thrilled with himself and immediately begs Mel for a compliment. They really have time for jokes now. Then Isaac appears, another gorgeous man, who happens to be holding the fake holy sword in his hands. The crowd starts whispering about the cheating couple as Lennox frantically tries to shut down the broadcast video spheres. But sorry, not sorry. Isaac uses his own power to ensure the entire kingdom sees every bit of this. To wrap this up, just look at Shuria's face as Mel and Dominic prepare to shatter her holy sword. What do you and I make of this wild story so far? Make sure to subscribe and hit the bell for more updates on our latest stories. Be the first to see what happens next. Thanks for the support. See you in the next one.